Should you guys sell your Apple stock and go all in into Tesla? Or sell all your Tesla stock and go all in into Apple? Or own both of them? Or none of them? What should you do? Well, in today's video, I hope to answer this question. Which stock is going to be a better investment by 2030? Now, before everything, you guys already know, if you guys have followed my channel, I'm going all in into Tesla. I'm a heavy Tesla bull. But it doesn't mean that I'm a bear or a hater of Apple. In fact, I have heavy respect for Apple, and I still think Apple is a fantastic investment today. Opposed from the fundamental point of view of Apple, because we already know that Apple has a strong and a phenomenal fundamental, no question there. But look at their stock chart history. There's never been a stock like Apple before, and probably will never ever will be. Take a look at this PE chart of Apple. Not once has Apple traded at a very high PE. The highest it has traded is at 35, maybe even 40 sometimes. But throughout its growth years, it's been in the 10, 15, and 20s, even 25s. I mean, that's just absolutely crazy. When you look at Amazon, it reached 1,000 PE. Tesla, 1200 PE. Shopify in the thousands. Even Microsoft and Google were trading at high PEs at some point. But Apple, never. Why? Because they kept smashing every single quarter. Every single earnings they freaking blew out of the water. Even the recent one, a few days ago. Q2 2022 of Apple's was just absolutely crazy. It shocked me because it was a beat. I mean, that's why the whole market's going up right now. What I found very shocking about Apple is the fact that they pulled out of Russia entirely and they still blew numbers. Like, that's just absolutely insane. And that's mad respect for Apple. Mad respect. But Apple is soon to be worth $3 trillion. Now the question is, can they double next year? Can they double in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? Because remember, if they want to double, that's 6 trillion valuation. I mean, these numbers aren't a joke, man. These are huge numbers. But that's the question for Apple. It's a whole lot easier for a company with a less valuation, like Tesla, to double easily next year because they're just in the beginning of their S-curve. They're now starting to ramp up, producing more cars than ever and delivering more than ever. And that's just only the car side of it. Apple, on the other hand, they're already matured. How else and how far can they grow from here? So the curious Pejjy that I am, I got curious. What will the stock prices be for Tesla and Apple by 2030? And which one will have the more valuation? In other words, Apple versus Tesla. Who gonna win? Let's find out. All I ask in return is a like and subscribe if you haven't already, man. Let's go. It's going to get interesting. Let's go. So here's a chart that I have, a Tesla stock price prediction chart and an Apple stock price prediction chart, starting from 2020 all the way to 2030. Obviously, with Tesla, we have a lot more data to put in because we can predict a lot better with Tesla that way. With Apple, it's a lot easier because since they're selling the same things over and over again, we can see what the total profit margins are for the company and the total revenue. So it's a whole lot easier with Apple. So let's first go ahead and figure out Apple stock price from now till 2030 because it's a whole lot easier. So 2020 and 2021 has already passed, and these are the actual numbers from them. In 2020, they had a stock price of 133 per share on an average in that year, and in 2021, it was 174 bucks per share. Most likely in 2022, they're gonna end off the year almost hitting $440 billion in revenue and over $100 billion in net income this year. Most likely this is what's going to happen. Probably a bit more than that, I'm not gonna lie, but we did just enter a recession, so we're just gonna keep it a bit more conservative, and that's the number that we came up with. That's pretty much exactly 12% year-over-year growth from 2021 to 2022. 2023 to 2025 for the revenue, I said they're probably going to grow at a 20% rate. And with a 20% rate, these are the numbers that we get. For the net income for those same years, I left it at 12%, and these are the numbers that we got. However, from 2026 all the way to 2030, I said year-over-year growth, they're going to grow at 12% for revenue. Don't get it wrong, man. 12% is a lot still for a company like Apple, and with these massive numbers, they compound big time. So if we put that in, we get over $1.3 trillion in revenue by 2030. That's absolutely crazy. In fact, the first trillion will probably happen by 2028. That's absolutely crazy. I think Apple will probably be the first company in the S&P 500 that will do $1 trillion in revenue. Absolutely mad. For the net income from 2026 to 2030, I just lifted at 8% year over year, and by 2030 we get a net income of $218 billion. So almost close to $250 billion. When it comes to shares outstanding, Apple is a big fan of doing a stock buyback. They do stock buybacks all the time. And we can see averagely they do about 3 to 4% on an annual buyback. Like that's crazy. So most likely in 2022, they're going to end off just below 16 billion in shares. But from 2023 and onwards, I said 4% every single year they're going to buy back, which by 2030, we're going to have over 11.5 billion shares outstanding, which is absolutely phenomenal. And most likely by then, there'll probably be another stock split. So that number might be even higher. The EPS follows the shares outstanding as well. And now we come to the PE, which pretty much leads to the stock price. So most likely by 2022, by year end, it's probably going to end up by PE of 30. No doubt about that, in my opinion. And with a PE of 30, we get a stock price of $199 per share and a valuation almost $3.2 trillion. So it seems like by year end, we will blow past that 3 trillion mark, which is absolutely insane. Now, let's say at this price of $199 per share, you decide to invest $10,000 and put it in an account, lock it up, forget your password, and come back to it by 2030. You want to know what the return will be. Well, I got you covered because we're going to do that for Apple and Tesla. So let's say the year finished, the stock price is $199 and you decide to dump $10,000 into it. Not to mention, guys, Apple does pay a dividend here, but we'll add that up at the end of the video, how much that could have been as well. Just $10,000 invested, that's it. You're not adding it in, you're not doing any more contribution, just $10,000, that's it. Finished. With a PE of 30 from 2023 to 2030, the reason why I kept the whole year at 30 is because I believe Apple will be continuing to grow and most likely will be introducing new innovative items, new innovative products. But if they do that, the PE will be a bit more than 30. Let's assume we don't know that. They're going to continue how they're going to continue. They're going to grow how they are. We're going to give it a PE of 30. Comment down below if you guys agree, but we'll work around that by 2030. We'll play around that number. So in 2023, we get a stock price of $232 per share with a market cap over $3.5 trillion. Your $10,000 have now turned to $11,666.66. 2024 stock price will be $271 per share. Market cap almost heading $4 trillion. Absolutely crazy. Your investment now has gone over $13.6 thousand. Congrats. In 2025, the stock price will be $316 per share with a market cap over almost $4.5 trillion. Your investment now almost has turned to $16,000. In 2026, stock price will be $355 per share, market cap over $4.8 trillion. Your investment now has turned almost to $18,000. Nice. In 2027, it'll be around $400 per share, market cap over $5.2 trillion. Absolutely crazy. Your investment has now gone over $20,000. Sheesh. 2028, it'll be $450 per share with a market cap over $5.6 trillion. Your investment now is $22.6 thousand. Nice. 2029 stock price will be $506 per share, market cap over 6 trillion. Like, that's crazy. So we can, wow. So 2029 is predicting at this rate they can hit $6 trillion by 2029. That's absolutely insane. And 2030 stock price could be $569 per share. By the way, around this time, most likely it'll be a stock split. It probably won't be $569. It'll be like maybe a 2-for-1 or a 3-for-1 at this point. Pre-split, it'll be $569 per share and the market cap over $6.5 trillion. And your investment now is almost itching towards $29,000. Like, that's absolutely crazy. Your 10K has turned to almost 29K by 2030. That's a 286% increase. That's insane. But we're not done yet, man, because we got dividends, man. Let's see what this will look like with dividends. At the current rate of 0.55%, because that's what Apple pays dividends. I mean, 0.5%, but don't forget, 16 billion shares outstanding, so that makes sense. These are the amounts of dividends you would get per year. Overall, you would have earned $754.41 in total dividends. Add that on to the investment, to your total investment, and we get $29,370. Your total return will be almost 300%, 294% by 2030. If you put 10K at the end of the year at the price of $199, I think right now it's almost at $170. It's $163 actually. But we're not saying you're gonna invest at that price. We're gonna invest at $199 per share or $200 per share. So still, you're getting almost 300% return by 2030. That's insane. That's why Apple is insane. Sheesh. But this is just a prediction and a prediction only. It could go the other way around, but most likely not. Moving on to Tesla. All right, so Tesla isn't as simple as Apple because, well, Tesla is still new. And to be more precise with the prediction, we got to use how many vehicles they sold with the FSD. Again, this is not including Tesla Bot, Robotaxi, Tesla Insurance, energy storage, batteries, and so on and so forth. Like the rest of the stuff doesn't include here. This is just the business of the vehicles and the full self-driving. That's it. Nothing else and nothing more. But let's get down to it. In 2020, they delivered 500,000 vehicles, which total revenue over $31 billion in revenue and net income of $721 million. At that time, the average PE was 800, which was absolutely insane, which gave it a stock price of $534 per share. In 2021, they almost did 1 million vehicles delivered, so almost a double, which is just crazy. Total revenue, almost 54 billion. Net income, over 5.5 billion with a PE of 200. Now look at this, guys. 800 PE to 200 PE, but the stock price doubled. So this tells you that Tesla is not overvalued. Their earnings are supporting the PE, and in fact, it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller because they keep destroying earnings every single quarter, even the recent quarter, which was the worst quarter for Tesla. But with that, we got a market cap for the first time over $1 trillion, which was absolutely crazy. Right now, it's sitting at 900 billion. So, yeah, it's a discount if you ask me. But anywho, moving on to 2022. In 2022, they're most likely gonna finish the year off with 1.4 million vehicles. It would have been 1.5 million if the Shanghai wasn't forced to shut down for a whole month or so, but we gotta deal with it, and I got a feeling Tesla's gonna come back with a vengeance. This is what I mean. In 2023, I believe that they're gonna grow 60% rather than 50% because they didn't hit the 1.5 million mark in 2022. It wasn't their fault. So I can easily see by 2023, the numbers heading 2.24 million vehicles delivered. For 2024 and 2025, I do believe they're gonna grow at a 50% rate. These are the numbers that we get. In 2026, however, I think they're gonna start slowing down their growth. Instead of 50%, it'll be 40%, followed by 2027 and 2028, all following the 40% year-over-year growth. And 2029 and 2030, I put at 30% year-over-year growth, which still, at this rate, we get over 23 million vehicles delivered, which is absolutely crazy. Some of you guys may see this that, oh, look at this guy. They're saying they're gonna do over 23 million vehicles by 2030.
Here we go, another Tesla bull.
But I challenge you guys, by 2030, we are most likely going to have a worldwide vehicle deliveries of over 100 million vehicles. Not just Tesla, obviously, the whole vehicle market. Most likely at that time, Tesla will have 20% of the entire market. You know, if you do the math, 20% of 100 million is 20 million vehicles. And that is not as bad as you guys think. Right now, Toyota delivers about 10 million vehicles year over year. The total worldwide market for vehicles being delivered at the moment is 70 million. So if you do the math, Toyota is pretty much 20% to what it is now. Tesla, at the rate of growth they're going for with the EV and the whole market shifting that way, it's not hard to see that. But if you're still a skeptic that 23.3 million is not possible, we'll play around with this number at the end. Let's move on with the chart. FSD one-time price. We had 8,000 2020, 10,000 2021, and now we have 12,000. At this rate, we can expect they're gonna grow at a $2,000 rate every single year, giving us a full FSD price at $28,000 by 2030. But most likely by then, they're only gonna give you an option of just a monthly subscription. They're not gonna give you this option to pay the whole thing at once. It's better for Tesla actually because it's more of a SAS or a SaaS system for them. They get to collect a whole lot more money at a much consistent base and a much more realistic base. It's better for the investor and better for the company, more of a cash machine. But we don't have that data yet. We don't know exactly if that's going to happen or not, so I kept it at this rate. Vehicles with FSD, I kept it at 15% because that's what the rate was in 2021, and we don't have any data of this year. All we know is that by end of this year, there's gonna be 1 million people with FSD. But until that number actually comes in, I'll update it then. But for now, I'm gonna stay at 15% because we are going at a one-time FSD price rather than a subscription. Most of these customers are on a subscription based. So until that data comes in, we're gonna keep it the one-time fee. We got the FSD sales price, we got the FSD profit margin. As you guys can see, every single year it keeps jumping higher and higher. And that's because by 2030, 62% of the FSD revenue will be profit because it's just a system. It's just a big markup for the company. You can think of this as like Office 365. The system is there, the investment is there, the product is there, they just gotta sell it and they'll make a whole lot of money. This is exactly what the FSD is. And that's also backed up by tons and tons of research. So yeah, that's absolutely crazy. Now, the total revenue for 2022, this gets a little interesting because we have to figure out how much each vehicle is going to be sold for in a single year. As you guys can see in 2022 or in my previous Tesla updated 22 stock price prediction, you guys can check it out here. But we figured out in Q2 of 2022 that Tesla was selling on the average each vehicle at $57,300. That's absolutely crazy. And recently the Senate in the US have passed an EV credit line for $7,500 that even includes Tesla. So this price can even go higher. They could probably sell the vehicle at like $63,000 on the average. But for 2022 sakes, we're gonna say on the average entire vehicles they sold $57,000, and with that we get a total revenue of over $82 billion in 2022 and a net income of 15% based on the total revenue sold and obviously the FSD profit. We get over $13.5 billion in 2022. So most likely at the end of this year we will probably see this number 82, probably even 85 in revenue, bouncing between 13 billion to 14 billion in net income. Not bad. In 2023, however, instead of saying $57,000 per vehicle, I put at $55,000 because inflation will slowly come down. They're already saying it's trending down. So meaning Tesla can lower down their prices, but the demand will grow a lot more. However, I did only bring it down a little bit because obviously the wait times, they're gonna continue, man. Austin and Berlin are taking a whole lot longer to ramp up, so I kept it at $55,000 per vehicle, and we get a total revenue of almost $128 billion. And for the net income, I bumped it up to 18% per each vehicle sold for the profit. Although I think it'll be more than that, but keeping it conservative, also including the FSD profit margin, we get a total net income of over $25 billion. So that's literally a double from 2022 from this year. Absolutely mad. Crazy. In 2024, I still kept it at 55,000 vehicles because the Cybertruck will be out, and each Cybertruck is between 50,000 to 64,000. So really average is probably going to range around 55, 56, probably even more than that. So keeping it 55,000 is reasonable, and not to mention that there's no compatible car yet that can bring down the vehicle revenue margins at the moment. So 55,000 I think is fair for 2024. We get a total revenue of almost $193 billion, absolutely crazy. And with a net income of 20% off the vehicles and obviously the FSD margin, profit margin, we get almost $43 billion. Crazy. In 2025, I brought the average vehicle sold down to $52,000 per vehicle, and mind you guys, we're over 5 million vehicles delivered in 2025. So if you guys agree with that, comment below. But we get a total revenue of almost $276 billion, and with the net income being 23% of the total vehicles sold and the FSD profit margin, we get over $70 billion and net income. In 2026, I reduced the average vehicle sold to $48,000, and we get a total revenue of almost $360 billion with a net income of 25% off every vehicle sold. We get over $100 billion in net income. That's absolutely insane. That's like this year Apple in 2026 in terms of net income. Sheesh. In 2027, I believe this is when they will slowly start to roll out the compatible car that's like worth $25,000 to $30,000 vehicle. Based on how everything is going, it seems like around 2026 to 2028, these are the times when they will come out with the compatible car, because it seems like around that time, most problems for Tesla will be solved in terms of ramping everything up and making new factories. And obviously if you make new factories, which they are going to announce later this year, so it's going to be pretty interesting to see what's going to come on that. But anywho, we can expect between these years they're going to come out with a nice compatible car. Nonetheless, I reduced the total average vehicle sold to $45,000, and we get a total revenue of over $477 billion with a 25% profit off every vehicle they sell. And the FSD profit margin as well, we get $137 billion. More than that, but that's just insane. 2028, I believe this is where most of the compatible car will be into effect. So I reduced the average selling price of each Tesla to $40,000. And we get over $600 billion in revenue. Still gonna keep that 25% net income off each vehicle. We get over $179 billion in net income. In 2029, I reduced the total average vehicle sales even more to $35,000 because the compatible car is doing massive impact by then. And that will give us almost $700 billion in revenue. Crazy. In the net income, I left it at 25% the same. We get almost $217 billion. And in 2030, I kept it at $35,000 per vehicle on the average, giving us a total revenue of over $916 billion in revenue. Mind you, we are over 20 million vehicles, 23.3 million vehicles. That's the power of having a compatible car, man. If that comes into play, easy, they can hit this number, easy. And with a total net income of 25% per each vehicle sold, nothing has changed from 2029 here. We get a total net income of 2030 over $289 billion, almost reaching $300 billion by 2030. And this is just FSD and vehicles. That's it, nothing else at all. But man, if you add their AI here by 2030, it's just gonna be, I'm telling you, their AI is gonna be like 80% of the whole business by then. 20% of it is gonna be all cars. Mark my words. So sheesh, look at that. I mean, from today, if we, by end of this year, 13.5 billion, all the way to 2030, almost 300 billion. That's absolutely crazy. Now, when it comes to the shares outstanding, I said they're gonna dilute 2% every single year. Right now, we're at 1.04 billion shares outstanding. Most likely, if we do 2% dilution every single year, which I don't believe that's going to happen, because if they're going to make this much money, there's really no point of them diluting. But taking things at a conservative approach, we're going to say they're going to dilute 2% every single year until 2030, although it makes no sense. We're going to keep it that way. By 2030, over 1.2 billion shares outstanding. Again, makes no sense, but we're keeping things conservative. The EPS follows that as well. And now, moving on to the PE, which demonstrates and leads to our stock price prediction. So let's see what we get. Will this beat Apple or not? Let's see. So in 2022, I gave Tesla stock a P of 90. Why? Well, honestly, yes, we did just enter a recession, but I do think we hit the bottom in the stock market. I do believe by year end, things are gonna look a whole lot better. Inflation will be less, price of oil will be less, I hope, and gas, I hope. We'll see how that turns out. But I think by year end, things will be whole lot better than what it is now, in my opinion. I'm giving it a PE of 90. I think it will be the average, because right now, if we look at Tesla stock right now, they're over 100 PE, and most likely it seems like it's going to continue going up to 110. So giving it a PE of 90 by 2022 is reasonable, because we're going to get announcements of probably the Cybertruck, probably new gigafactories, AI days. It's going to be a lot of good stuff coming. And with a PE of 90, we get a stock price on the average of $1,172 per share, or adjusted 3-for-1 stock split of $391 per share. Market cap over $1.2 trillion. Now, worst case scenario could go to 80 PE, could be at $1,042 per share, or $347 per share, adjusted for 3-for-1 split, or reaching almost $1.1 trillion, but I really don't see Tesla not trading at the thousands by year end. Some of you guys watching my video say we're gonna end up with 100 PE this year, and if that happens, that'll be $1,300 per share. That'd be crazy, but most likely I believe we're gonna end up with 90. I highly strongly believe that. Now, let's say you decided to invest $10,000 into Tesla at the price of $1,172 per share. Although the price right now is almost $900, it's better to get it now if you're planning to buy year end. But let's say you want to wait, see what happens. You go all in, you go $10,000 at that price, 1,172, which would give us around 8 to 9 shares, or around 25 to 27 shares after the split. In 2023, I put a PE of 75 because earnings are going to keep crushing it and the PE is going to keep going lower, but still remaining a high level PE because growth for Tesla at the moment is extremely mad. It's high. Every car they make, they produce, gets delivered. They buy all of it. It's crazy. So a 75 PE will give us a stock price almost hitting $1,800 per share pre-split. Post-split of 3-for-1, we get almost $600 and a market cap over $1.9 trillion. Your $10,000 have now turned to over $15,000. I mean, 50% growth within a year. Absolutely crazy. But it gets crazier in 2024 with a PE of 65. We get a stock price of $25.65 per share, adjusted 3-for-1 stock split of $856 per share on the average. We get a market cap of almost $2.8 trillion. You now have $22,000. So from 10K all the way to 22.2K almost, you've doubled your money within 2 years. Absolutely crazy. In 2025, I gave it a PE of 55 and we get a stock price of $35.09 per share, adjusted 3-for-1 split of $11.71 per share. By the way, they will probably announce a stock split between 2025 to 2024 if the numbers go this high. So Yeah, that's good stuff. And that will give us a market cap over $3.8 trillion. You now have 30 grand in investment. You turn 10K into 30K within 3 years. Absolutely madness. In 2026, I gave it a PE of 45. We keep going down on PE here because we kind of have to, because we have to keep going lower to keep it realistic. We get a stock price over 4,000 bucks per share with an adjusted 3-for-1 split of 1350 with a market cap over $4.5 trillion. And now you have almost $35,000 from your 10K investment back in 2022. Absolutely crazy. Oh, look at that. We are on the tail of Apple's market cap. Look at that. In 2026, we have Tesla's market cap almost reaching 4.6, and we have Apple at 4.8, over 4.8. Whoa, will 2027 be the year that Tesla overtakes Apple? Let's see. In 2027, I give it a PE of 40. We get a stock price of $47.87, adjusted 3-for-1 stock split, almost 1,600 bucks, and we get a market cap of $5.5 trillion. And your investment has now turned to over 40K. Good job. Within 5 years, you've quadrupled your investment. That's absolutely crazy. And would you look at that? We just surpassed Apple in market cap in 2027. Sheesh. Tesla at 5.5 trillion in 2027 and Apple at 5.2 trillion. Sheesh, look at that. So is 2027 the year that Tesla is going to overtake Apple in market cap? Nobody knows. We have to wait and see. But I do believe that Tesla will become the most valued company in the world sometime. 3 years time, 5 years time, 6 years time. We shall wait and see. In 2028, with a PE of 35, we get a stock price of 5,363 bucks per share and adjusted 3-for-1 stock split almost at 1,800 bucks with a market cap over almost at $6.3 trillion. Your investment now has turned to $46,000. Very, very nice. In 2029, with a PE of 30, we get a stock price of 5,442 with an adjusted 3-for-1 stock split of 1814. Oh, we're getting a little bit of a stagnation there. Is this the end of the S-curve? And we get a market cap over $6.5 trillion. Your investment now has turned to 46,000, so only 1,000 more from the year before. In 2023, with a PE of 25, I mean, just absolutely crazy. I don't think Tesla will be trading at 25 PE by 2030. That's just silly. But again, this is only based on vehicles and FSD. If they're AI, their insurance, and other things that get involved, obviously 25 will be a joke. Most likely, it'll probably stay around 35 to 40, probably even 50 by 2030. So that's going to be crazy. But anywho, 25 PE in 2030, we get a stock price of almost 6,000 bucks per share. Adjusted 3-for-1 stock split, we get 1,981 bucks per share. And a market cap over $7 trillion, which is absolutely insane. Congratulations, you have 5x your money at almost $51,000 from your $10,000 investment in 2022. That would give you a return of 507% return compared to Apple's 294%. So it seems like, based on this chart, Tesla is a far better investment to invest now till 2030. Obviously, Apple is 300% Apple. That's absolutely mad. 300% for a company that's in the 3 trillions is absolutely stunning. But Tesla is 500%. From now till then, absolutely crazy. Alrighty, let's go ahead and play around with the numbers a little bit. Let's look at Tesla for a second. Some of you guys may say that, hold on, 23 million, man, I don't see that happening. Let's just roll back to 20 million and let's see what we get with a 25 PE. With the 25 PE, we get $5,100 per share, and adjusted 3-for-1 stock split, we get almost 1,700 bucks with a market cap of $6.2 trillion. But again, guys, with a PE of 25 with just vehicles and just FSD, this doesn't make any sense. But if this happens, well, Apple is still in the lead, 6.6 trillion in market cap, while Tesla will be at 6.2 trillion. I mean, but still, you will still have a far better return with Tesla at a 434% return. I mean, absolutely insane. But let's just be for real, man. By 2030, Tesla will not be at 25 PE. Even 30 PE is an insult for Tesla because of all the other things they're doing. But if you put 30 PE, just 5 PE more, well, that's actually a lot more than what we had when we had with 23 million vehicles. We get a return of 521% rather than 507%. And the market cap is $7.5 trillion by 2030. Mad. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. So going back to that 23.3 million vehicles sold in 2030 and with a PE of 25. Now, let's say Apple has come out with a new product. They've entered the EV space. They've invented something new. Well, if that's the case, I can definitely see Apple trading at 35 PE by 2030. And with that, we get $7.6 trillion, more than that actually, in terms of market cap and a stock price of $664 per share, making it still the most valued company in the world by then. But the return from 2022 to 2030 is 341%, while Tesla is over 500%. Don't forget, guys, I have to keep stressing, this is Apple with everything that they're doing. For Tesla, it's just vehicles and FSD. Let's say for a second that by 2030, Tesla doesn't reach 20 million. Just because they didn't reach 20 million, it doesn't mean the stock price will not be what it shows here. Most likely, another part of the company has taken over a lot more. FSD, robo-taxis. Those are more profitable, they can sell more, and they can make a whole lot of money. It's not that important if Tesla doesn't reach 20 million if their other parts of the company is making a whole lot more money. It just doesn't make any sense to think that way. Just look here in this chart. We see by 2030, if you do 23.3 million vehicles, their net income by 2030 will be 290 billion, while Apple's, if they continue the rate that they are now, will be 219 billion. Let's reduce the 23.3 million to 20 million. That's still $250 billion more than Apple's 219 billion. By 2030. So although we are going based on vehicles and FSD here because these are the solid data that we have at the moment, other parts of the business that Tesla is working on is gonna dwarf, mark my words, dwarf Tesla's vehicles and FSD. Mark my words on that. But comment down below, guys, do you guys believe by 2030 Apple will still be the most valued company in the world, or do you think that throne, that crown is gonna go into Tesla's? Comment down below. I want to know what you guys think. But hey man, at the end, this is only a prediction and a prediction only. This may happen or may not happen. Nobody knows. This is only for entertainment purposes and I'm not a financial advisor. Look guys, at the end of the day, Apple and Tesla are solid businesses to invest in. Apple at the moment has more cash on their balance sheet than probably a lot of other countries out there. It's absolutely sad. It's funny, but it's true. They got a lot of cash. So to think that Apple is going to go away in 5 years time, 10 years time, it's just not going to happen. You can bet on that in 20 years from now, Apple is still here and they're doing amazing. We also know that Apple is not sitting back with their hands across, with their feet on the desk, collecting cash. They're working on other stuff. They're getting innovative and they want to stay on top of the world in terms of market cap and stuff. And the company that's threatening that right now is Tesla. Eventually, in my personal opinion, Tesla will become the crowned king in terms of market cap in the world. Apple is still going to continue to grow. Apple is a fantastic company and a very strong company, but they've grown a lot. I mean, 3 trillion market cap is not a small number. Tesla, on the other hand, they have a lot more growth ahead of them and a lot more opportunity. That's why I'm going all in into Tesla stock. But if you guys are a heavy Tesla investor and an Apple investor, well, check out these 2 videos if you guys thinking to retire off them because they're absolutely possible. Tesla, Apple, you won't be disappointed. Check it out. You'll get some good value. Don't forget to subscribe, guys, and I shall see you guys in the next video. See ya.